Hey, Gage, how's it going?
Oh, what's up, Rob? Just taking a little lunch break here. I was just
What?
gonna crack open a bag of Chippos. What are you up to?
You know, it's 2 o'clock in Calgary. I'm chipping it up as well. It's interesting how you use that chip bag. You actually use the perforation.
Yeah, you don't do the perf.
What kind of chips are you eating there?
Well, I'm diving into some jalapeno, one of my favorite flavors. Is there Kettle Brand? Oh, look at you!
Hey,
You got Kettle too.
You know what? I turned around the bag, and there's this food print. And did you know that they're strive to be more mindful of the community? They've launched this footprint, an initiative that for their packaging, since 2019 they use 43% less packaging than before.
Oh, nice. I wonder if that was just right sizing the package or
Yeah,
thinner
yeah, because a
material.
lot of times you get bags, and if you look inside here, there's like a fair number of chips.
Yeah, and I think they do some of that to like make sure your chips don't get crushed, but sometimes it feels excessive for sure. You open this like giant party-sized bag of chips, and there's like 5 chips in it, and that's definitely an individual serving. But that's interesting. Your bag had that. On the back of my bag, it talks about how they have 600 solar panels on their roof, and they generate over 120,000 kilowatt hours per year. So I wonder if each bag has like a different sustainability stat or something like that.
Yeah, well, actually, I have a green bag here of yogurt and green onion.
Oh.
And it has the. So, do you think it's like a green? It's almost like trading cards, actually. If I collect all these pieces, do I have a story of impact for the Kettle brand?
Yeah, let's explore that. I got a couple other bags here too.
But
the habanero has the same electricity stat. What size bags do you have? Maybe it's a bag size thing.
I have 220 gram bags.
Okay.
You went for the multi-pack there. Did you
Well, the girlfriend's obsessed with some salty chippy things and enjoys this brand. So I got some big size for her, but on those ones I've got a biodiesel fact. So they talk about 100% of their excess veggie oil from their production process is converted into biodiesel. That's smart. Waste not, want not. May as well use it if it's there.
Well, it looks like their veggie oil, if they're using, sunflower. What type of oil do they use in this? Sunflower and or safflower or canola. But what's good is it's actually non-GMO. So you're actually not using GMO canola, which I see all over where I live up here in Canada.
Do you know? I don't know if all their products non-GMO. I'm picking up this habanero package, and it doesn't say anything about non-GMO on this one.
You know what? What if we do this? What if I share my screen and we go to their website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what frustrates me is I'm always looking for organic products, right? Non-GMO is like my backup. Like I guess I can do that if I can't find organic. But what frustrates me about Kettle is like they have only a few organic SKUs and they're super hard to find. Like when I was at the store today picking up some chips, they had a few different varieties or a few different sections. I think it was by bag size or something, but I couldn't find organic anywhere.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just like the stores that you go to and where other organic. But I hear you. But they are extra in a good way. What do you think that good way is? Where do you think the extra is?
Yeah, extra flavor, extra crunch.
Flavor? Yeah. Well, that flavor is bold AF.
I think it looks like they're going through a bit of a rebrand. Maybe they recently did it, but
I noticed on
some of the bags. Yeah, on some of the bags it says new flavor, and other bags I saw it said new look, which I was kind of chuckling about because like the new look is barely a new look. It's like same basic look. They just changed some colors and block. It's more of like a information hierarchy update more than like a whole rebrand. So I don't know if the new look was necessary, but maybe they changed colors on some of them.
Oh, there's the organic. Hey, what flavor do you have there? You have habanero and lime.
This one right here is habanero. I thought that sounded great. It's one of their newer packaging looking products, but that one I don't see non-GMO on it, which is interesting. So maybe they're obviously waffling on organic certification, and now maybe they're even dropping some of their non-GMO.
Some of their non-GMO. Well, actually on the website,
there
it says it's non-GMO.
Maybe it's just buried on the back here somewhere.
Yeah, and that's interesting because you had said that non-GMO is one of your go-tos. Just
You see,
like when you're choosing a package.
Okay, so they don't have the certification mark anywhere on the package. Like maybe something went wrong with their certification, but they do have a little handwritten blurb here that says our natural promise made with non-GMO ingredients and gluten-free. So maybe they're just in an in-between situation with their certification.
Well, let's look at, actually their crinkle cuts don't have the non-GMO. The classic.
Maybe they're backing away from the certification.
Yeah, maybe they're backing away. But if they're still doing organic, which
but this is what frustrates me about organic, or like things like whole wheat. I think Annie's does this too. Like if you want the organic SKUs, you only get like one option. But if you want non-organic, they give you all the different cool flavors and shapes and sizes and whatever. And I feel like that's kind of a Kettle thing too that's frustrating, is like, what if I want salt and vinegar and organic? What if I want habanero and organic? Like, is it really that much more difficult? I mean, I'll pay the extra 50 cents or $1. Just why do I get fewer options if I want organic? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's flavor. But here's something interesting, just looking at the bottom here, privacy policy, terms of use, interest-based ads. What do you think that is? Oh,
no idea.
Look at this. I know that Kettle got bought a while ago, but it looks like they got bought by Campbell's.
Yeah. And this is just information. Oh, they're just like telling you what information they collect when you're on their website.
Yeah. We collect information.
I bet they're just like doing that because after you've been on their website, they're going to send you some ads.
Yeah. Oh, the geolocation. Yeah. Okay. Well, at least they're telling us that's good. Do not sell my personal information. So I click that, and that
goes nowhere.
So
they might want to fix that. They're just putting that there for legal, but they didn't intend to actually let you opt out.
Okay, well let's go back to crinkle cut here. If we're looking at what's working, there's a few things that aren't working, but the crinkle cut. Let's look at crinkle cut, the habanero one, and I see something interesting at the top here. They have pairings, and you have the crinkle cut one there. Okay.
Yeah, and I do like the kind of information hierarchy of elevating that crinkle cut, because maybe that's what they're realizing is one of their differentiators is there's not as many crinkle cut chips on the market. So elevating that up a bit makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. So what are they pairing it with? It looks like there's alcohol out here, because I had to, I guess now everyone knows I was born in 1996.
Yeah. You look so good for your age, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I don't know how you got all that gray in your beard.
It's all the Kettle brand that I eat.
It's the salt. It's all the salt and pepper from the chips that just got stuck in your beard. That is funny though, that they ask people to put their actual birthday as though anyone's gonna actually put their real birthday.
You're gonna put it in. Okay, so hey, here, habanero.
Beer recommendations.
You got a saison or a farm ale? You know
what? That sounds good. I'm gonna try that right now. Let's just crack open this. It's not quite a saison or farmhouse, but in the same general category. I've got a New Belgium triple here, and I've got the habanero chips. So let's test this out. I'm guessing based on both their refresh of the brand, but which seems mostly like colors and voice that they've kind of changed. It seems like they're probably going from what their old demographic was, probably strong Gen Xers, maybe a little bit older, and obviously some millennials grew up with it as well. But it looks like they're trying to refresh and make their brand a little more youthful with all the bold colors and kind of fun copywriting. So I'm wondering if this whole beer pairing thing is part of that movement. They're thinking like, what will make us relevant to the youth? I know the youth loves craft breweries. Let's give them some. And they even list a bunch of craft breweries on there.
Or is New Belgian? Did you say you had the New Belgian Ranger IPA or
not Ranger? I got a triple. What were the ones they listed under habanero?
Habanero, they have the Bison Saison, Jolly Pumpkin. None of these are available up in Canada.
Really? Wow.
Saison. Yeah, but so I guess Tank 7. Yeah.
Those are some good breweries too. So obviously they've got some good taste in beer.
Well, they have these are recommended by Ashley Rootson from the Beer Wench.
Oh wow.
You know what? One of the things that I think that's a missed opportunity.
Very limey.
What's that?
I said very limey. I was expecting maybe more habanero than lime, but a lot of lime comes across on these.
Well, I've had those before. I think there's a back note of habanero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think is, and maybe they're just going after this demographic. Okay, so let's see the beer pairing here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I was thinking, with the lime kick, maybe something more like a lager or something would go well with that. But the little kick of habanero and then that kind of zest of lime, I think really kind of brings to life the at least this triple that I'm drinking right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that demographic and that pairing, and when you're doing your your beer tastings in your private little tap room that you have, you could just bring in a couple cases of Crinkle or of Kettle Brand and do that. One of the things that I think is a bit of a missed opportunity is there seems to also be a trend of no or low alcohol beverages, right? As people are more concerned about health, more concerned about general consumption of alcohol.
Yeah.
So they have a cocktail pairing. Oh, this would be fun.
Oh, so it's two different pairings. They've got a beer pairing and a cocktail pairing. I was gonna say, why do they call it cocktail when it's all beer?
Go to your
I might have to go back to the bar and mix up a little habanero, lime, gin and tonic. Lounge. That sounds good.
Your Don Draper bar. Where's your your little desk with all your mix? Frozen gin and tonic. Well, that'd be kind of nice. Yeah.
Dill pickle plus Bloody Mary's an obvious one there.
It is fairly obvious, but
rum Negroni. Okay, that's interesting. I mean,
would it be interesting if they paired this with like kombuchas or something as well, just to give those options?
It's a fun idea. Obviously, food pairings makes sense, and I mean, maybe if you're often like big bags of chips come into play either as like a little lunch snack or party. Like often if you're going to a party, you're gonna be bringing bags of chips or dessert or some beer or something. So maybe the idea behind this is if you're going to bring our chips to a party, you may as well bring the right beer to go with it, which is an interesting thing. But the fact that they made it like one of their main navigation links on their website means they're really leaning into it. It's not just like a one-off little marketing campaign of a microsite or a little ebook or something like that they're producing.
Yeah, and maybe it's just to grow the brand up a little more sophisticated. Like if we look at our origin story, I think they started in like the 70s.
Yeah, I think I read something in the 70s.
Yeah. Do you think these guys were folks who were drinking beer? Or what other pairings went with potato chips around that time?
Yeah, beer was rough during that time because it was kind of at the very beginning stages of the craft brewery movement coming back to life. So there were a handful of craft breweries, but it was mostly just your major kind of lagers. Like Budweiser and Coors and stuff like that were really popular at the time. So I feel like the craft beer pairing is probably a newer thing, but who knows? At that time, they were probably all fresh out of college or college dropouts when they started the company, and they were just drinking a bunch of light beer or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So one of the things here is, and just for the record, we'll always give a damn about the things that make our chips better. Right.
Yeah, I noticed that they're really leaning into that. They're like, they keep saying extra in a good way, or it's all about making the chips better. What I'm not hearing a bunch about is how they make the world better, like a mission. But yet on the back of the packaging, they led with all these sustainability facts, but then you go to their website and I don't see anything about sustainability. So there seems to be maybe a little disconnect. Maybe they're in the process of updating the website because obviously it looks like there's some fresh brand going on. Yeah. My guess is they haven't picked a lane yet. Or
it looks like they're testing it. Let's go to, we've looked at the products. Tater Tracker. Let's see what that is. Oh, it's trademarked, so it has to be official.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it has to be official TM is my
They
name.
couldn't let any other tater companies use their tater tracker name. That was
All right.
essential.
Well, let's see what we do here.
All right.
We'll type in up at the top here. I look at the code under the best before. So SA 0616 XA.
Complicated codes.
Yeah. Is that the X? Where am I? XA
Got lost already.
106. And then over here.
Yep. When I was typing in my code, I was struggling with it too.
Yeah. I guess if it'd be interesting if it's like a QR code. Because I think people aren't going to be
easier.
Yeah, at their computers like this. But Derek Davenport, he was the guy who grew my potatoes. Thanks, Darren. And they've been working.
You know what chips were those that you?
Those were the ranch.
Okay, because I think when I tried this earlier, I think I did the habanero lime, and Derek also grew those chips. And also, I recognize it because it was from Washington, which is obviously where I'm based. So I thought it was like, oh, maybe they've got some local program going on here, and like depending on what region you're in, you might get a grower in your area, but you got the same grower. So
I thought Derek was special for me.
Apparently, well, he still has a special place in his heart for you, and grew those intentionally for you. In your Calgary market.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I do like that we have a little bit of transparency. There's an opportunity to understand who's growing our food, because I think there are a lot of disconnects. It'd be interesting, and I haven't watched the video, and I won't watch it right now. But
I watched it. It was not specific to the Derek Davenport, but just kind of like about their farmers and how their farmers try to take care of their people, and different kind of tying a little bit back into like the back of the package, maybe some of their sustainability efforts and stuff. So it's just kind of like a nice general heartwarming video about their potato farmers and trying to make sure that there's a future for farmers out there, because we know that industry is getting pinched real hard. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do wonder though, like I have some client brands who focus on traceability as well. And I feel like traceability at this point, at least, feels like much more of an industry concern, something that you want to make sure you have traceability so that if there's something wrong with the batch, you can track it back, and it maybe helps you with sustainability efforts in terms of logistics and efficiencies and so on and so forth. But I do wonder, I don't know if I've seen a lot of data on I know transparency is important, but traceability, like how much consumers are really like, I really want to know where this potato was grown. Like maybe for a fresher product like dairy, because I think Organic Valley really succeeded with their packaging, where they put the local farmer that your dairy came from on the package, so that as a consumer, wherever you're going to shop, you're seeing your local farm there, because they work in pools regionally. So you're always getting milk from your region in most cases, unless there's just not enough supply. But with a product like potatoes chips, it feels a little less like, oh, they've got to be super fresh. They're deep fried. So like, do I care as much about where my potatoes were grown? I'm not entirely sure. So if this was more of a way to just raise awareness for their farmers, maybe they could skip the awkward code part and just let people explore some of their farmers.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And again, I wonder how many people are typing it in versus like a QR code or something. That'd be easy. Yeah. Because if I'm at a party or at a gathering with my bag of potato chips, I'm usually not eating a bag of potato chips in front of my computer. I mean, it is Thursday, but so let's go to the corporate site. Let's see if they talk about Campbell's Soup Company. All right. I mean, no
crunching going on over here.
But now all of a sudden we're connected to Prego, and I mean, we've seen huge consolidation with this stuff. Our impact. Well, let's look at our impact.
I didn't realize they also own Pacific.
Yeah. Okay. So they have their trusted food. They have healthy communities, governance, corporate responsibility. I mean, I think that's ESG. They're a little behind on the times there.
Yeah, I feel like this is seems kind of like the table stakes for giant corporations these days is, hey, we take care of people, and hey, we're not dumping toxic waste in your backyard. But they haven't really picked a purpose. Like, they're not really out there solving a problem. They're just trying to avoid PR scandals.
Oh, but
not to lightweight it. I'm sure that a lot of work goes into some of these efforts, and I appreciate them and think they're worth doing. But it just seems like you mentioned, a lot of big corporations are a little behind the times, and they're doing things that they should have done 10 years ago today. So it'll be interesting to see how they progress as they continue to buy more innovator brands.
Yeah, for sure. And look, like, so you're talking about impact and purpose. So our impact delivering on the promise of our purpose. Let's
check it out.
Let's check it out. Well, it's up to date. Our purpose is connecting people through food they love. Okay.
Have you ever been connected to people through your Campbell's soup, Rob?
Well, that is a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
It's that can of tomato soup I had as a kid, that one can.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're connected by that.
I'm connected by that. So the promise of the purpose, we're taking more holistic. Okay, those are some buzzwords. And not to beat this apart. Well, there they have ESG, right? So they are a little more progressive with it, but it's not continuous. Like, there's that continuity is not through the company. And there's a lot of digging here. And unless you're looking for this type of stuff, there's a lot of digging that has to happen. They don't mention that I see right now sustainable development goals. The video, I'll maybe watch that video later, but let's go to let's learn more about exploring our impact. Oh, it takes us back to the same thing. Okay. Yeah, operating transparently.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like when a new brand is starting and they kind of come up with their values and like quality and service, and some of those things are on there. It feels a little bit like that, by which I mean, connecting people. Like, that's the default that almost every food company goes to when they're not really sure what their purpose is. They're like, oh, I guess, well, people get together at a table to eat food, right? So we're probably connecting people, but are they really? I mean, I just wonder where the substance is there. Like, maybe they've got a page somewhere in here that if I dug deeper, I would know, but it doesn't feel intuitive to me. Like, I feel like as a giant food company, you could be taking a more concrete stance on something, whether that's nutrition or better fix the broken food system, like something. There's so many problems to be solving.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one of the things too that I think is interesting, Gage, is that this is now up to the parent brand of Campbell's, where I think Kettle, you're going to see all my searches here. But no.
You didn't clear your cache before this.
But Kettle, like, doesn't have impacts on their website as a standalone brand, which I think is a missed opportunity. Yeah. And again,
because like you said, 99% of consumers are probably, this is the first time I've ever been to the Kettle website, right? So, and we're here because we're talking about the brand, but like, I probably wouldn't have gone here otherwise. And so like they're trying to tell the story on the packaging, which makes sense because there's that's more of a first touch, but putting this pairing system on the website, putting the tater tracker, they're obviously trying to drive people here. So why would there be that disconnect? Like you're saying, if I'm reading about sustainability on the package and then I go to the website and there's no information, if it's hard enough to get people to your website, to your core website, who's really going to click through to your parent website to read about your impact? So I agree with you in that it would be much more direct and give people easier access to that information if they had something on their website. And again, it looks like they're going through a bit of a refresh, so maybe that's coming.
And I don't mind the refresh. Like it is fresh. With the crinkle cut, sorry, I can't remember, Gage. Did they on the back? Did they have some information?
Impact information. They got a little note about the tater tracker, and they get this one also had the same note about electricity.
Okay. Yeah.
Solar power, and then that note about their natural promise, which is the only part where they mention the kind of non-GMO, but I don't see the non-GMO logo anymore. So like I said, they're probably backing off of that, or maybe it's certain flavors that they're not bothering. Maybe it's like new flavors that are not going through the certification process until they see whether or not they're going to stick around. Could be something like that.
Yeah, I remember at trade shows, specifically Anaheim, they had the tasting booths, and I think this was before the Campbell's acquisition, but just they had basically crowdsourced new flavor profiles.
Yeah.
Put the different seasonings on. Yeah. So, I think as far as impact, I'm not sold that it's authentic, right? Like I'm sure that what they're doing and the measurements are all up to date, but it doesn't seem like the impact is really built into the brand. It's more of a marketing.
Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a why behind it. It's just more of a what, like, by which I mean, they're giving us all these stats on what they're doing, but we don't know why they're doing that. And it, again, it seems a little bit more like they're not really sure where they want to focus. And so they're just kind of doing all the things you're supposed to do, solar panels, bioenergy, et cetera. Like those are all just good business practices at this stage. Let's be honest. It's just smart things to do. And again, good for you for doing that. But the way brands are moving in the future is going a little bit deeper, and maybe they're on the journey to figure out what that deep impact is. But right now I'm not seeing anything that really ties into like their consumers. Like, what do their consumers really care about? That also aligns with the brand. Like, do consumers care about the tater tracker? I'm not sure. Maybe they care about the pairings thing. Obviously, that's not as much mission. Obviously, the vast majority of people these days do care about climate change. So that's probably why they're just grasping at some of these climate change stats on the back of the package. But when I look at that, I don't have a clear answer as to why Kettle cares about those things, other than it's just table stakes.
Yeah, the table stakes is a great way to put it. The other thing too is like we meet our tater makers, but who are the people actually making our chips, right? Like it'd be interesting to
why is it always the farmers? Why can't you show the factory workers or the person who came up with this recipe or something? Like let's talk about the rest of the supply chain.
Yeah, for sure. Both up and downstream. So
click on their social media. Let's check that out real quick too.
Which one do you think? Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter?
Either Instagram or Facebook.
Let's go.
Mostly just because I don't really bother with Twitter anymore these days. But one thing I'll note on the rebrand is I do like kind of the fresh colors and the fun, bold copywriting. That makes sense. I feel like they missed an opportunity to also clean up their logo type a bit. It's feeling a little bit like maybe they kept it there for nostalgia, but is it really working as well as it could anymore? It feels a little dated with its awkward papyrusy like texture, which I'm guessing is a hint towards like the roughness of a potato or something like that. But
yeah, or I think the
has gone a little cleaner.
I look at it, I see farm fence.
Yeah, but the rest of the brand is like the brand was more like natural looking, right? And that texture made sense. And at the time that they launched that logo, that was totally on trend. It worked. It was great. But I feel like if they're updating to be more bold, more fresh, more playful, more fun, that feels a little legacy now. It feels like it's not quite fitting the direction they're heading.
Yeah, and even like look at the social, like this logo is so faded.
Yeah, and you gotta choose your colors a little more wisely if you're gonna put a white logo on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like they've got some bold, playful things, some videos, some little animations. Not a ton of consistency, by which I mean like the potato animations are completely different from some other graphics and illustration. But yeah, you can see some of their like pairing guide shout outs, their spot the difference, where they're kind of releasing more of their updated look.
Yeah, and they're really trying to turn into a social brand, right? Like a way to connect. Like their chips are a catalyst for connection. Is kind of what I'm seeing here.
Oh, tying back into that Campbell's mission, right? Like bringing people together through food.
Yeah, so maybe
and I feel like the chips brand specifically maybe aligns there, because again, for sure some people are buying these just to snack on, but like I think when you just like in the back of your mind think chips, often it's like parties. Like everyone always brings bags of chips to parties, right? It's like the easy thing to bring to share. And that could just be my bias there, but that does bring people together, right? That's parties bring people together, and sharing food brings people together. I feel like Kettle can own that a little bit more than maybe all the other Campbell's brands. But that is part of what's hard about a big conglomerate, is how do you have one unified purpose when you have so many different brands? And they probably, historically purchasing these different brands, it was probably more based on opportunities, like gaps in their product portfolio, profitable companies, and the opportunity to scale them, more so than does this fit Campbell's. Like there probably weren't a ton of conversations 10 years ago when they started scooping up brands about like whether or not it's a brand fit. It was probably more of a, does this fit in our portfolio? So maybe that's part of the struggle of working on impact at a giant conglomerate, is how do you align the impact across all the different brands? And maybe, not to straight up plug conscious brands on here, but maybe that's where something like Campbell's could go through conscious brands with their different brand managers and have everyone at the different brands kind of answer what their purpose is. And maybe you could find some alignment there, and maybe you could have something more concrete and a little less generic if you could figure out what really ties all these different products together.
Yeah, there has to be a thread with it. It'd be interesting. Like, how many brands do you think they have?
I have no idea. These conglomerates these days could have hundreds, but let's just say 30. I don't know.
It's 30. There's quite a few. Let's see what else is in their snack category. Oh, they have late July as well. I didn't realize late July. So Cape Cod. So they have a couple of different. Yeah,
I didn't realize late July was in there.
Yeah. That's interesting. So Cape Cod. Okay, well let's. Which one should we explore? Late July or Cape Cod, and see which brand is. See if they're going for a similar.
I mean, late July and Cape Cod would be similar in terms of like where people are using it, how they're using it, and why they're using it, in terms of product fit. So if we want to do a compare and contrast, maybe we could find something that would be a different use case and then see how aligned they are.
Crunchers. Yeah.
Jalapeno popper goldfish. What?
It's limited edition. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm gonna. So I just want to. I'm gonna click on Cape Cod. It's funny that they have recipes. Cape Cod has recipes, but it's just a different brand feel altogether.
Yeah.
Right. So now this is a little more relaxing of a brand, and it should be. Yeah, like you said, right. But yeah, they're talking about the factory. They're not talking about the farmers, really. Right. And I guess the brand is like that whole Cape Cod lifestyle.
Much more seaside than rustic potato farm, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've had Cape Cod products in a while, so looks like they also have some crinkled chips. And then they had, like you said, that they were sharing more of the factory workers, which leads me to believe that either they don't really have much of a story to share on their farmers. Like they're not as specific about who they work with from a farmer standpoint, or maybe they just have a really compelling like factory story. Like maybe they've got some efficiency, sustainability, or like social impact story to share there.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And then you look at something like late July where they are using TerraCycle.
See, that's something I was gonna note too, is that Kettle is using the howtorecycle.info from the Sustainable Packaging Coalition. So they've got at least some information on what this is and what you could do with it, which obviously with multi-layer products is pretty much always just landfill. But at least they say that, because there's a lot of consumer confusion around what to do with different packaging. And some people think things are recyclable when they're not, or they don't think it's recyclable when it is. And part of that comes down to just the regions and countries and whatever. It's just all so confusing. But it looks like late July stepped it up a notch by, I wouldn't say TerraCycle is the best option, by which I mean I love what they're doing because they try to make things that aren't recyclable more recyclable, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with it is often that the consumer has to take so many extra steps And what's the likelihood that people are going to keep their last 10 bags of chips, slap it in a box or an envelope, and send it off to TerraCycle? Not super likely, right? It obviously happens enough that TerraCycle's in business, but you're not going to catch everyone with that. Whereas if it's a actual locally, recyclable, you can just pop it in your recycling bin or whatever. That's a lower ask from a behavior standpoint.
Yeah, that's a whole infrastructure change and having some standardization. So I mean, I disagree a little bit. I think that we need companies like TerraCycle to kind of innovate.
Oh, I agree. They're a good fill the gap. I'm saying that because there's an extra layer of consumer ask there, it's not an ideal solution. It's more of a stepping stone solution. I would say use TerraCycle until you can get your package to be compostable or recyclable or whatever the end goal is, but don't sit on TerraCycle permanently. TerraCycle's there to help people who don't have a recyclable format, like do something with it.
They're kind of like the tow truck, you know, and get your vehicle up to a place of functionality where you don't need the tow truck, but it's nice to have.
Totally.
One of the things that it would be interesting to see how many late July, and I don't know if they have this data, but I'm sure that they would, because late July would have to be looking at a return on investment for being part of this program. But like, how many late July packages, and then bring that back to the late July, like if they're talking about TerraCycle, and if someone doesn't know TerraCycle, like it's a missed opportunity. But just having like a little tracker here, and obviously,
or a little, it's like a social proof. Like if they see that other people are doing it, I'm gonna be like, okay, well maybe it's worth the pain in the butt because I want to fit in with my peers, right? So I think that's a brilliant idea. I think they should have more data on how used it is. Maybe they're not showing it right now because either they don't have the data or because the numbers are sad. But on that previous page that you were on, it said something about like available locations or something like that.
There is
and 114, that's great, but like 114 across what like geographical territory? That's, who knows how accessible that is. One thing I'll say about TerraCycle, which, I am a big fan and actually like a small time investor in them, so I do love what they're doing. But one struggle that I've had is they have this like recycle anything box that they'll send you, and you can just literally put all your unrecyclable stuff, like the hard to recycle things like batteries, light bulbs, clothing, like whatever. You can just dump it all in this box and then slap a label on it, send it to them, they'll take care of it for you, which I think is such an amazing plan because it solves the consumer behavior problem of making the ask smaller for consumers.
Yeah.
But then, there's efficiency, like they know what to do with it all. And if they're collecting it all for people, then it's going to be easier for them to take care of it for you.
So I don't need to go to the thrift store anymore. I could just like,
well, they'll probably send some of it to the thrift store for you. But the problem is that their box is only available in certain locations.
Right.
So I went to apply for one and they're like, sorry, not available. And it's like, oh crap. Like I get that they're probably like working on scaling that up, but that was one of those moments where I was like, dang it, TerraCycle, make it available for me so I can use it too. Because I buy these late July chips. I am probably as close to like the most super green sustainable consumer you can ask for. And even I don't save those chip bags to send it to TerraCycle because I'm like, I've got drawers full of light bulbs and batteries and all this kind of stuff that I save for years until I can take it somewhere to drop off. Am I really gonna save a bunch of chip bags too? Like I'm trying to prioritize in the focus of like toxic waste, like light bulbs and batteries seems more of a good place for me to focus. But if I could do it more easily, if I could just drop it off at my local grocery store or something like that, I would be much more likely to do it.
For sure. So I think overall, let's start tying this together here. I mean, I know you're getting to the bottom of your glass and you get a little ranty.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what happens when they offer pairings. Like I'm about to become Professor Gage over here.
Professor. You just, do you have that soapbox? Do you actually stand up on it, or?
That's actually the chair I sit on.
That's the chair that you sit on. Yeah. It's an ergonomically designed soapbox. So one of the things that you know, as we start to maybe wrap this up, and I think that, you know, Kettle's doing some great things. There are some misses that we talked about with this, and maybe we can recap those misses. But, you know, I think Campbell's as a whole brand, there's missed opportunities for efficiencies with scale, right? So why doesn't Kettle be part of this Kettle brand, and Cape Cod and some of the other brands that could help scale TerraCycle, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's missed opportunities.
Or why
there.
doesn't Cape Cod have the tater tracker, or why doesn't Kettle have the TerraCycle? Like there's, like you said, there's so many ways they could be working together, but they seem, even though they're all part of the same conglomerate family, they still seem like they're operating independently.
Yeah, each brand is siloed, right? And I think,
which is great in some ways, you know, because they want to keep the authenticity of the brand. They don't want people to stop buying it, but it also means like, well, what was the point of buying them then? Because I feel like often the optimistic view of a brand getting bought out is that they'll have more resources and more access and more market and more distribution channels and so on and so forth. That's the dream that they sell, right? But then if you're not going to take advantage of that, then it was basically just an investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as far as Kettle, which is the brand that we started out here with, I think they're not telling. Yeah, I love that they had this on the back of their packaging.
Yeah.
But when I went to the website and didn't see any mention of it, it kind of.
That's a bit of a disconnect, because you might see that on the package and be like, oh, that's super cool. I want to go to their website and find out more. And you come up with nothing.
A little bit of a deeper how. And then also it's like, well, this seems like marketing as opposed to authentically communicating. And then that missed with not looking at any of the employees. We understand the farmers, and I love that they talk about the farmers, but who's making my chips too? You know, if you're going to tell a story, tell the whole story, not just pieces of it. So,
and I think that would, you know, if they picked a lane, I think that would help them, because they're trying to tell a lot of different stories, and they're not able to tell the full story. And then, like you just mentioned, but also like when I'm reading about this, their natural promise or their solar panels or their biodiesel, they never mention why. It's all just like, here's the things we're doing. That's it.
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't align to a higher purpose.
Why should I believe that you care about that? Like,
well,
why should I believe that you're not just doing it because you think you have to?
Yeah, and then my inner cynic comes back to, oh, it's owned by Campbell's now, and not that Campbell's is a horrible company. I know there's some great incubators, and you know we've spoke on panels with folks from Campbell's, but it just now seems like it's lost in the sea. It doesn't have the unique voice that you know I thought Kettle would have, right?
You know, I almost wish we had like a before and after kind of scenario to evaluate to see if they have lost anything. Because I have to say, like, I've bought Kettle chips, I've eaten Kettle chips, but I haven't dug into the brand before this, you know, so I don't know what was lost. Maybe some of their hardcore fans feel like the brand is getting watered down or something like that. I'm not sure, but that is a good point. That does happen a lot when a brand gets bought, is they get mixed into the general corporate culture. They've got to dial back on some things, maybe some things they get to dial up on, but somewhere along the line that their original culture is lost, possibly right after purchase, but most definitely when the original founders leave.
Yeah, there is that culture creep for sure. Hey, Gage, if you were to give Kettle Brand, and you know, maybe I'll just bring up Kettle Brand here again. If you were to give them a score out of 10 with regards to being a better company or purpose, or how they're acting on their impact, how evolved they are, how conscious they are, you know, like out of 10, what score would you give them?
And I'm going to preface this with, I'm a really hard scorer, by which I mean a 10 is almost impossible to achieve in my book, and a 9 is like you're killing it, and an 8's like you're doing pretty solid, etc. But I haven't put a lot of thought into this at this moment, but just gut instinct, I'm going to give them like a 6 or something, by which I mean they're obviously doing more than your average like garbage company that's just out there to make a profit, and they don't care if their product is better for the world or better for people, right? They obviously are doing something. They've got all these stats. They're committed to some things, like hopefully at least non-GMO, if not trying to be committed to organic. So they've made some progress. I think what they're missing right now is some focus and some clarity around really what they truly care about for me to like truly believe that they're worth like a 7, 8, or 9 or something like that. Like if I could get a little bit deeper into some of these causes, if I could see some of those TerraCycles, if I could see B Corp, if they would actually go all in and commit to organic, like something like that would up my numbers. But based on what I'm seeing right now, I'll give it like a 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 6 is intuitively what came to me as well. And for a lot of the same reasons that you put out there, extra, and obviously this typeface extra good is what I'm seeing, but I'd like to know what extra means. Like, how are you different? Like, to make up those extra 4 points, get from a 6. Like, I want to know. I want to know some details and dive a little bit deeper. Yeah.
There's certainly no tie between their current kind of trying to be hip and trendy with playing on words of trendy phrases and their actual mission yet. But there could be, like exactly what you said, like what is the extra? The extra could be biofuel and sustainability and taking care of our farm. Like, it's just such a missed opportunity that with just a little extra work, I feel like they could take this to at least a 7, if not an 8. And then, with longer work, 5 or 10 years goals from now, like they could get up into that 8, 9 territory. 10 is almost impossible. That's like maybe like Patagonia level or something.
Right. Yeah. So we've been extra since the start. When I click read more, our story, it doesn't really, it doesn't
extra
give me
mile to bring delicious, authentic food. Like, A, what does authentic food even mean for a potato chip? That's what I want to know. But B, like delicious, sure. Like, but literally every single food brand on the planet is trying to bring you delicious food. So like, what's the extra?
Maybe we should start a brand, Horrible Foods.
Well, there is a potato chip brand called Uglies that's upcycling, which is also kind of an interesting twist because I'm a big fan of upcycling, upcycled products too. But like from what I've heard in the potato industry, like that's not like a new thing. Like all potato chips are made from upcycled potatoes because the good, clean, solid looking potatoes go to market and all the leftover bits get turned into things like potato chips. So from what I hear, that's not like a truly something you can stand on. Yeah. I could be wrong. Like maybe we'll do a review on Uglies and do a deeper dive. But yeah, some people have played with that kind of naming genre before.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's understanding what I wanted as a consumer. I want to be connected to my food. I don't eat.
You don't eat? Wow.
Well, I don't eat.
That's how you keep this nice figure going.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A breatharian. This potato chip is the first food I've had in, I don't know.
So you're on a hunger diet until Kettle tells you what extra means. Well, I know there's probably a little extra lime on these jalapeno lime chips. Maybe that's what they meant.
But like, I'd want to know who are these folks that started it. I have no name. I am grateful that in 1978, the founder, maybe he didn't want his name on there. I don't know. But
I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of weird that they don't mention founder or founding team. Maybe it's, because they've exited and they don't want it to be about them anymore, but still like a nod to them and why they started this company would be nice to have. And that could create a little bit more authenticity and a little more emotional connection,
Yeah. Well, the extra,
like, were they just potato farmers that needed some income, or were they the biggest like couch potato nerds and they just loved sitting around watching movies, playing video games, and eating chips? Like, tell me that story. I want to know that. That would help me connect with the brand a little bit more.
Well, 1978 wasn't. I mean, maybe they're playing a little Atari at the time, or Pong. Yeah. I guess it would have been Pong. And I'm thinking of that 70s show and down in the basement eating potato chips.
Yeah, so we know they were high at the very least when they started this company.
Well, I wouldn't want to go on record there, but there is something about crunchy food. Yeah. So, hey, Gage, it's been really fun chatting with you. And, maybe we should do this again. And maybe we just kind of put it out to the community and see who wants to, like, what are some brands you'd want? If you enjoyed Gage and I rambling.
If you enjoy my soapbox chair as
Your
I
soapbox
consume my
chair.
delicious beer and chips.
Yeah. No, it's funny because we haven't been to a trade show. This is really making up for our trade show.
Yeah, this is how we walk the trade show. So we're literally just trying things and talking about the brand and what they are doing awesome or what they could be doing better. But yeah, as Rob mentioned, if there's a brand you really want us to review, let us know. And if we can find it locally or order it, we'll add it to the queue.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Gage.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers indeed. Well, I don't have anything to cheers with, but
you should have looked at the pairings.
I should have looked at the pairings.
They probably, you know what, you need to write them and be like, you need to tell me what pairings or what chips go well with guayaki yerba mate, because I know you're a 6-can yerba mate drinker a day.
Wait till we review mate. We'll have to drink 6 cans and how far can we go? Yeah.
I'll be glued to the ceiling after that, probably.
Right on. Thanks so much, Gage.
Cheers.
Cheers.